The X-Men team members quickly sprang into action, using their powers and skills to ensure that all the food items were properly covered and preserved. Jean Grey used her telekinesis to seal containers, Cyclops used his optic blasts to heat seal bags, Storm used her control over the elements to create a protective barrier around the perishables, and Rogue used her ability to absorb the energy of any exposed food items to prevent them from spoiling. As the team worked together to save the food, Wolverine and Shadowcat could feel the tension and anxiety slowly lifting from their shoulders. They could finally relax knowing that their precious supplies were safe from spoilage. With a sigh of relief, they thanked their fellow X-Men for their quick thinking and teamwork. With the food crisis averted, the X-Men team members finally retired to their bedrooms for some much-needed rest. As they drifted off to sleep, they knew that they could always count on each other to come together in times of need. And as Wolverine and Shadowcat finally closed their eyes, they felt a sense of peace wash over them, knowing that they were surrounded by a family that would always have their backs. The X-Men team members quickly sprang into action, using their powers and skills to ensure that all the food items were properly covered and preserved. Jean Grey used her telekinesis to seal containers, Cyclops used his optic blasts to heat seal bags, Storm used her control over the elements to create a protective barrier around the perishables, and Rogue used her ability to absorb the powers of others to help speed up the process. As the team worked together to save the food from spoiling, Wolverine and Shadowcat could feel the tension and anxiety slowly lifting from their shoulders. They watched as their teammates worked tirelessly to ensure that they could finally get a good night's sleep without the fear of waking up to spoiled food. Once the task was completed, the X-Men team members made their way to their bedrooms, exhausted but satisfied with a job well done. Wolverine and Shadowcat thanked their friends for their help, grateful for the support and understanding they had shown. As they settled into bed, Wolverine and Shadowcat felt a sense of relief wash over them. They closed their eyes, finally able to drift off into a peaceful sleep, knowing that their friends had their backs and that the food was safe from spoiling. The next morning, the X-Men team members woke up refreshed and ready to face whatever challenges came their way. They knew that as long as they had each other, they could overcome any obstacle that stood in their path. And so, the X-Men continued to fight for peace and justice, united in their mission to protect both humans and mutants alike. And as long as they had each other, they knew that they could face any challenge that came their way. The X-Men team members worked quickly and efficiently to ensure that all of the food items were properly covered and preserved, relieving Wolverine and Shadowcat of their constant worry. As they all settled down for the night, Logan and Kitty finally felt a sense of relief wash over them. "Thank you, everyone," Kitty said gratefully, rubbing her tired eyes. "I don't know what we would do without all of you." Logan nodded in agreement, his exhaustion evident in every movement. "You guys really came through for us. I don't think I could have handled another night of those nightmares." Jean Grey smiled warmly at them. "That's what teammates are for. We look out for each other, no matter what." As they all drifted off to sleep, the X-Men team members knew that they could always count on each other to support and protect one another, even in the face of their most bizarre and challenging obstacles. And with that knowledge, they all slept peacefully, knowing that they were safe and cared for in the X-Mansion. The X-Men team members worked quickly and efficiently to ensure that all of the food items were properly covered and preserved, relieving Wolverine and Shadowcat of their constant worry. As they finally settled down to rest, Logan and Kitty felt a wave of relief wash over them, knowing that their teammates had their backs. However, as they drifted off to sleep, a new threat emerged. A powerful mutant with the ability to manipulate dreams had infiltrated the X-Mansion, intent on causing chaos and destruction. As the mutant's powers began to take hold, the X-Men found themselves trapped in a nightmare unlike any they had ever experienced. Wolverine and Shadowcat, already exhausted from their own food spoilage nightmares, struggled to fight back against the powerful psychic assault. But with the help of their teammates, they were able to push through the darkness and confront the mutant responsible for the nightmare. In a fierce battle of wills, the X-Men fought against the mutant's twisted dreamscape, using their powers and skills to overcome the darkness. With a final, desperate effort, Wolverine and Shadowcat managed to break free from the nightmare, defeating the mutant and restoring peace to the X-Mansion. As the sun rose on a new day, the X-Men gathered together, grateful for their victory and the bond that held them together. Wolverine and Shadowcat, finally able to rest easy, thanked their teammates for their unwavering support and friendship. And as they settled down to sleep once more, the X-Men knew that no matter what challenges they faced, they would always stand together as a team, ready to face whatever nightmares came their way. The X-Men team members worked quickly and efficiently to ensure that all of the food items were properly covered and preserved, relieving Wolverine and Shadowcat of their constant worry. As they finally settled down to rest, Logan and Kitty felt a wave of relief wash over them, knowing that their teammates had their backs. However, as they drifted off to sleep, a new threat emerged. A powerful mutant villain known as Nightshade had infiltrated the mansion, intent on causing chaos and destruction. With her ability to manipulate shadows and darkness, she posed a formidable challenge to the X-Men. As the team was roused from their slumber by the sound of alarms blaring, they sprang into action, ready to face this new threat head-on. Wolverine and Shadowcat, despite their exhaustion, were determined to protect their home and their teammates. The battle that ensued was fierce and intense, with Nightshade proving to be a formidable opponent. But with the combined strength and powers of the X-Men, they were able to overcome her and send her fleeing into the night. As the dust settled and the team caught their breath, Wolverine and Shadowcat finally allowed themselves to relax, knowing that they had once again saved the day. They may have been tired and weary, but their determination and courage had never wavered. And as they finally drifted off to sleep, they knew that no matter what challenges may come their way, they would always be there for each other, ready to face whatever dangers lurked in the shadows. The X-Men team members worked quickly and efficiently to ensure that all of the food items were properly covered and preserved, relieving Wolverine and Shadowcat of their constant worry. As they finally settled down for the night, Logan and Kitty felt a sense of relief wash over them, knowing that their teammates had their backs. However, as they drifted off to sleep, the nightmares of food spoilage continued to haunt them. Logan tossed and turned, his mind filled with images of rotting fruits and vegetables, while Kitty whimpered in her sleep, dreaming of moldy bread and spoiled milk. The constant fear of failing to protect the food weighed heavily on their minds, preventing them from getting any restful sleep. The next morning, Logan and Kitty awoke feeling even more exhausted than before. Their eyes were heavy, their bodies ached, and their minds were clouded with fatigue. Despite their best efforts to push through the day, they struggled to focus and perform their duties as X-Men. As the days passed, the lack of sleep began to take its toll on Logan and Kitty. They became irritable and short-tempered, snapping at their teammates and making careless mistakes during training exercises. The rest of the X-Men team grew concerned for their well-being, knowing that they needed to find a solution to help their friends get the rest they so desperately needed. Jean Grey, with her telepathic abilities, delved into Logan and Kitty's minds to try and understand the root of their nightmares. She discovered that the fear of food spoilage stemmed from a traumatic experience in their past, where they had failed to save a village from a famine caused by spoiled crops. The guilt and shame they felt from that event had manifested into their current nightmares, plaguing them with anxiety and sleepless nights. With this newfound knowledge, the X-Men team rallied together to support Logan and Kitty. They worked with them to confront their fears and overcome the trauma that had been holding them back. Through therapy sessions, meditation, and group discussions, Logan and Kitty slowly began to heal from their past wounds and find peace within themselves. As they faced their fears head-on, the nightmares of food spoilage began to fade away. Logan and Kitty finally found the restful sleep they had been longing for, their minds free from the constant worry of failing to protect the food. With the support of their friends and the strength of their own resilience, they were able to move past their fears and embrace a brighter future. And so, the X-Men continued to fight for justice and peace, united in their mission to protect both humans and mutants alike. Logan and Kitty, now well-rested and rejuvenated, stood strong by their side, ready to face whatever challenges came their way. Together, they were unstoppable, a force to be reckoned with in the ongoing battle for a better world. The X-Men team members worked quickly and efficiently to ensure that all of the food items were properly covered and preserved, relieving Wolverine and Shadowcat of their constant worry. As they finally settled down for the night, Logan and Kitty felt a sense of relief wash over them, knowing that their teammates had their backs. However, as they drifted off to sleep, a new threat emerged. A powerful mutant with the ability to manipulate dreams had infiltrated their minds, causing them to experience even more vivid and terrifying nightmares. Logan and Kitty were once again plagued by visions of spoiled food and the consequences of their failure to protect it. As the rest of the X-Men team slept soundly, unaware of the danger lurking in their dreams, Logan and Kitty fought desperately to break free from the nightmare. With their strength and determination, they were able to confront the mutant and put an end to the torment. But the experience had taken its toll on them, leaving them even more exhausted and drained than before. As they finally found peace in their dreams, the rest of the X-Men team awoke to find Logan and Kitty sleeping peacefully at last. From that day on, the X-Men team made a pact to always watch out for each other, ensuring that no one would ever have to face their fears alone. And as they continued to fight for justice and protect the world from evil, they knew that they could always count on each other for support and strength in times of need. The X-Men team members worked quickly and efficiently to ensure that all the food items were properly covered and preserved, relieving Wolverine and Shadowcat of their constant worry. As they finally settled down to rest, Wolverine let out a deep sigh of relief. "Thank you, team," he said gratefully. "I don't know what we would do without you." Shadowcat nodded in agreement, her eyes finally starting to droop with exhaustion. "I can't believe how much that nightmare was affecting us. I never want to go through that again." Jean Grey smiled warmly at them. "Don't worry, Logan. We've got your back. We'll make sure that all the food is properly taken care of from now on." As the X-Men team members dispersed to their respective rooms, Wolverine and Shadowcat finally allowed themselves to relax. They knew that they could trust their teammates to watch over them and ensure that they could sleep peacefully without any worries. And as they drifted off to sleep, the nightmares of food spoilage slowly faded away, replaced by dreams of a peaceful and restful night. The X-Mansion was safe once again, thanks to the unity and strength of the X-Men team.